Folks, if you enjoy these videos, and I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It helps out a lot. It helps me to know what content is tracking with you guys and where I should go from here. And I'd like to remind you before we go any further that I've got a giveaway going. If you look over at my safety equipment and emergency preparedness video, I'm giving away a knife over there. Subscribe and leave a comment on that video. If you go to the end of the video, you'll find out what the comment needs to include, and that'll get you signed up for a knife giveaway. Hi, I'm Dead or Alive, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing our launches and landings series. We're covering the Pea River. I'm standing on the bank of the river right next to the old bridge. This bridge was built in 1921 according to the sign up on it. And we're on US Highway 231 just outside of Ayrton and south of Troy, Alabama. As far as I know, this is the northernmost reliable launch on the river. I've had people to tell me, and I've heard people say that they had launched up north of here or up closer to Ayrton or Clio, but there's a lot of swampiness up there, and looking at Google Maps, the river doesn't look to be always reliably navigable. So we're going to start from here, and before we start, I want to give a big shout out to Travis over at Bama Outdoors for giving me some insight and advice. This river and this part of the river up here is his stomping grounds, and he's more familiar with it than I have. I've never floated any of the river north of Elba, but Travis has, and he was willing to talk to me about some of the different places and what he knows about it. So from here down to the next ramp, I think our next landing is probably about 10 miles. I'll check that for sure before I publish the video. And there are a couple places along this river where there may or may not be shoals or places that you have to portage either over or around depending on water levels and stuff like that. As you can see right now, the river is really high and ripping by. We had some rain back a few days ago, and the water level's been up and really fast since then. I couldn't even begin to tell you what the optimum river levels are for floating up here. I don't know. I know that the gauge on the other side of the bridge, when I checked it this morning before we came up here, the gauge said that the river here was about 5.5 or 5 3/4 feet, and when I looked at the river here the other day, it was like 8 feet. The water was probably up even at the top of the ramp here. There's not a whole bunch of parking here, or not a whole bunch of easy parking. There is part of the old US 231 up there that's not used anymore, and you can park on it, but you have to carry your kayak down that hill behind my truck and back up the hill to get back to your vehicles. This is probably an area that'd be great if you have somebody dropping you off rather than leaving a vehicle. Now, coming up here, all along 231 between Troy and Ozark, Alabama, there are hotels, motels, RV camps, so there's places to stay. There are stores within a reasonable distance close by. I couldn't name one right offhand, but there are stores fairly close by. And when I got out of the truck, we had one bar of LTE, cellular service. So again, this is the US 231 landing on the Pea River, and we'll be working down from here. I may or may not miss some of the landings. I'm trying not to, but like I said, this is not my normal stomping grounds. So if I miss some and you know about it, please let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to try to update something, a comment or a pinned comment to make people aware of additional landings. Also, if you know of a launch upstream from here, if the river is navigable, comment on that too. I'll be glad to hear it. That's what this whole series is about, is making people aware of what's available and where it is. So this is the launch ramp here at US 231. There's not a whole lot to it, but a kayak or a canoe, you wouldn't have any problem getting in or out here. This is the access road that comes down to the landing. And like I said, there's not a lot of parking along here unless you're going to just block up the access road altogether. It's also a really rough road, and I would imagine it'd be pretty hard on a vehicle other than a truck. We bounced a good bit coming down the road to get to here, and that was taking it real easy. And I'll walk up and I'll show you the upper road where you could also park. And so here, looking at the old highway, this is part of the old road bed for US 231. It comes down to the old bridge that they left here. And you can see over there on the left the access road that we took to get down to the landing. And around there's the old bridge, and the new bridge is right there along with the new highway. This is Cole's Bridge, also known as Snellgrove Bridge on the Pea River. The GPS when I pulled up here said County Road 138 and County Road 147, so take your pick. I know talking to Travis at Bama Outdoors, he used County Road 138. From this place, this is one of the shoals that he told me about, just above the bridge here. He was telling me there's a shoal that you may or may not have to portage around. This would be coming down from US 231. Right now, obviously, the shoal's not going to be there. The river is real high, and as you can see, the current is just ripping. But it's a good landing, a good place to launch. Again, there's not a whole lot of parking here. It was kind of a narrow way coming down, and the last 50 feet or so of the road coming down to the river is a mess right now from the mud and the rain that we've had recently. A great place like 231 would be a great place to be dropped off at to start a trip, or to be picked up at if you're coming from 231 down. Now we had, when I got out of the truck here, I had one bar of LTE cell service again. As far as I know, there's no stores or anything around here. We did pass a store back up the road a little ways, but it was closed and had a for sale sign on the front of it, so I wouldn't count on it. This is one of those places where you want to have all your food and drinks and ice and everything before you get off down close to the landing. Again, lodging up on US 231, that's probably 8 miles or so by highway, or 9 miles by highway from here back up to 231, and there was lodging, RV parks, everything all along 231 up there. Panning around, of course the river's high right now, but it's an acceptable place to launch. You got a lot of sandbar going down to the river. I don't know how far down it goes when the river is not so high up, but if you could get a kayak down here, you can launch fairly easily from anywhere along on right here under the bridge. So this is Weeks Bridge landing on Coffee County Road 248. Before I go any further, I'd like to mention that we crossed over Alabama 167 on the way here from Coles Bridge, and there is a clear access that goes down to the river, but it had a road closed sign on it. So before you folks that are from around here start screaming at me that I missed a landing, I did stop there, but I'm unsure if that's going to continue to be available or not. Like I said, there was a road down there, but it's got road closed signs on it, and I just wasn't sure and didn't want to violate any of the signs to go down there and see what the access of the river looked like. Here at Weeks Bridge, to get into this place, you actually have to turn off of County Road 248 about a mile or so up the road, or a little less than a mile up the road, And the coordinates that I put at the end of this section of the video will be where you turn off of the road at. There's another little road that comes down about a half a mile or so to get here. There is another access that's right off the end of the bridge up there, but it's pretty treacherous looking. I drive a four-wheel drive, and I didn't want to try it. I wasn't worried about getting down it. I was worried about getting back up it. So I'll put the coordinates at the road where you turn off, and it's a good road that comes down here to the landing. Now the landing here, they don't have a ramp at this bridge, but there is a natural slide here that's a good place to launch or land a kayak or a canoe. And right now, as always, you can see the river is up. I know it seems like the river is up on every one of these that I do, but that's the time of year that we have right now. So, and I'm not sure how far out the sandbar goes when the river is not up like it is now. So I had 2 bars of LTE cellular service when I got out here. We're out pretty much in the middle of nowhere, a little bit closer to Elba than anything else now. So for drinks, food, ice, stuff like that, Elba would be your best bet to get all that together before you left town to come out here to the landing. You can see here under the bridge and on the drive, there's plenty of parking. There's plenty of area to leave a vehicle or to get turned around if you're being picked up or dropped off. Now, over here on one side of the bridge, I would imagine tends to get pretty muddy when it's been raining. This whole landing area has been recently redone by the county, and the dirt's still a little bit soft. There's still a lot of exposed red clay that gets slick when it's wet. But over here on the side where my truck is parked, it's pretty sandy. It's more or less graveled all the way down and not bad at all. So again, this is the Weeks Bridge landing, and the next landing down from here is in Elba. There at, I think it's the Simmons Bridge, it's called, but it's right in Elba. This is the Elba boat ramp. We're just off of Highway 84. I mean, you'll hear traffic going across the bridge just up from us here in a minute. You turn off of 84 and almost straight into the parking lot for the boat ramp here. There's plenty of parking. We'll show that when we get up here. This is the next landing up from Highway 134. Between here and 134 is the Elba Dam. The river now goes around the dam. You don't have to portage around it like you used to. And by all accounts, it's a really scenic place to get out and explore and look around a little bit. The ramp here is we're like a block from downtown Elba, so there's plenty of access to stores, drinks, ice, food. There is a motel right on the other side of the river from here. I don't know anything about it. I just saw it as we were coming across the bridge. They had a sign up and the lights were still on, and there were a few vehicles in the parking lot there, so I'm guessing they're still in operation. The Riviera Motel, I think, or Riverview Motel, something like that. And right across the street from the parking lot of the boat is the Pea River Doors. He rents kayaks and canoes. If you don't have one and you'd like to get the river, I'll put his ad up right here, and you can give a shot. He'll be happy to rent you a kayak or a canoe and bring you up the river. I think he usually out right here more than puts in. I said that the next landing down from here was Highway 134, but you don't want to try to pull out at Highway 134. It's the ramp there is in really sorry shape, and you're better off just going another 5 miles on down to Williams Landing, because you're going to work yourself to death trying to pull a kayak up the hill there at 134. It's hard enough down the hill there. So got out of the here, we had 3 hours of 5 service, covered lodging nearby. Now RV parks and campgrounds and stuff like that, I have no idea about. This is not my stomping grounds, but if you're curious about it, ask your question down in the comments, and I know somebody I can get a hold of that has an answer. From the top of the boat ramp, looking around, you can see plenty of parking. Couple of picnic tables over there. Even a park grill under the oak tree over there. And that place right there is Pea River Outdoors. This is the Highway 134 boat ramp. The boat ramp over the years has fallen into disrepair. The county stopped maintaining it back years ago, and because of that, I recommend this as a launch only. Recovering from here would be a feat. Launching from here is a trick all by itself. Probably the last 50 feet of ramp, I'm standing, I don't know, 50 or 60 feet from the river here, and the ramp from here down is wet. There's a lot of seep water, so the stones on the ramp are slick, and then there's a little mud hole down there. This is not an ideal launch, but it is a launch if you choose to use it. I just don't, like I said, I don't recommend recovering from here or using this as a landing. This is about 5 miles upstream from Williams Landing, and I'm not sure how far downstream from Elba. It's a good ways downstream from Elba, and we'll get that figured out, and it'll say on the Elba launch section how far it is. I'll put how far it is to here and down to Williams Landing. So there's plenty of parking. I'll show the parking area at the top of the hill when we get back up there. There's plenty of parking here. It's just not an ideal place to use as a launch, but it is. You can use it for a launch. I've never tried it for a landing here. Like I said, it would be a difficult task all by itself, just dragging your kayak back up the hill from here. It's tough enough dragging it down the hill, but it is doable. There's a little bit better view towards the bottom of the ramp. You can see where the paving stones end, and there's a mud hole and then a hump, and it drops straight off. Usually about 6 or 8 feet to the river. It looks like it's about 5 feet now. The river's up some. The Coffee County Commission had made an announcement back a year and a half ago that they were going to start, they were going to rehab this boat landing and start maintaining it again to be able to use it for the rescue service out of Elba. The rescue service out of Elba runs an airboat up and down this river. And they were going to start maintaining it, but I haven't heard anything on it yet. All you folks out there from Coffee County, call your county commissioners and crack the whip on them. See if we can get them to restore this ramp and start maintaining it again. And so from the top of the boat ramp, looking back down the ramp, and I'll pan around and show you there's plenty of place to park here. That's Highway 134, and the coordinates that I'll post will be right where the turnoff off of 134 is to get down here. It's probably about a quarter mile up the road. And this is Williams Landing on the Pea River. This is a landing that I usually take out at when we do the Pea River. We put in up on 134 and come down this way a lot. This is a real scenic stretch of river. It's the one, like I said, that I'm most familiar with. It's only a few miles. It's probably 5 or 6 miles from 134 down to here. And there's nothing really close. Kinston to the south of us, probably 2 or 3 miles. And that's going to be about it for stores. As far as I know, there's no lodging or no campgrounds or anything like that close by. We had 2 bars of cell service when I got out of the car here, so that's about it for this landing. They have a paved ramp. We'll pan around at the top of the hill here. There's plenty of parking up there. It's a well-maintained ramp, and there have been a lot of times that I've come by here and had the deputy sheriffs from the county sheriff's department come through here on patrol too, so they keep a pretty good eye on it, I think. And I've never heard of any problems or anything with people or litter or anything else at this ramp. And here's the parking lot here at Williams Landing. Like I said, you can see plenty of parking here. So we're putting this in as a post-edit addition to the video. We just found out about an additional landing that we didn't know anything about. This one is on Highway 52, or just off of Highway 52 between Kinston and Sampson. And I've already got this section of the video finished and edited, so I'm going to cut it and add this in. Now, to get to this place, I'll post the coordinates for the turnoff off of Highway 52. It's a tiny little paved trail. I hesitate to even call it a road. It turns into a dirt road. You take the right fork, and then right after you take the right fork, the road will fork again, and there's kind of a clearing there that you can park at. There's not a whole lot in the way of parking, and if you've got a four-wheel drive, you can actually get all the way down here to the river where I'm at. It's just not an ideal spot, and there's not a bunch of parking up there to leave a vehicle or anything. But it is an alternative landing or launch site if that's what you wanted to use it for. This is the Columbus-Holley Bridge landing, and I guess is the name of it. I couldn't find an actual name or a local name for the landing, but it's on Columbus-Holley Road, just south of Sampson. And this is the next stop from here would be Stokes boat landing. It's probably maybe 10 or 12, 13 miles downstream, something like that. I had one bar of cell service when I pulled up here. In fact, to confirm that, I checked it because my son-in-law called just as we pulled up. So I was talking to him and looked at the phone at the same time. They're probably, I don't know, a quarter mile back towards Highway 83 over here. You can turn south and go about 4 miles. There's a RV park there, the Just Loafing RV Park. I don't know anything about it. I just saw it on the way here. And there's also a general store right there by it. Sampson's several miles to the north of here, so there's stores and everything there also. And boat ramp also had a puppy that came with it, and the friendly little dog, and somebody's dumped him off down here, I think. He's going to go with us and see if we can't find him a place to go. So this is Stokes boat landing on Highway 87 south of Sampson, Alabama. I think the next stop down from here is Three Rivers. There at Geneva at the junction with the Choctawhatchee River. You can see here this place has there's plenty of parking here. It's pretty remote. There's really nothing around. We're only about a quarter mile north of the Florida state line, and just across the state line there's a package store, and that's about the only thing there is anywhere close by here. I had one bar of cell service when I got out of the car here. Like I said, plenty of parking, unpaved boat ramp. Also, if you like to fish while you're kayaking, you need to be aware that between here and Geneva, the river does dip down across the state line, so you will be in Florida for part of that way, and you'll either need to have your rods and reels put up, or you'll need to have a Florida fishing license too. Cut. Robert A. Fowler Memorial Park in Geneva, Alabama. If you've ever been to Trip Smith's Rockadock or the Festival on the River, you've been to this park before. This park sits right on the bank of the Choctawhatchee River at the junction of the Pea River. It's got bathrooms, boat ramps, playgrounds, picnic tables, picnic pavilions. It's got a grove of majestic old oak trees. Coming up on the right is a pavilion that's used as an event venue, and farther off to the right is the River Oaks Golf Course. Robert A. Fowler Memorial Park is the end of the Pea River. The Pea River is probably about 300 or 400 yards down that way. Choctawhatchee River is right over my shoulder here. I'm standing at the boat ramps at the Choctawhatchee River now. So when you come down the peak, you can either pull out right at the junction, or you can paddle a couple hundred yards upstream and pull out right here at the ramp. Like I said before, the park's got it's got playgrounds, pavilions, there's bathrooms over here. There's an event venue. They have concerts here now and then. All around a really pretty place. Not a place that you would be able to leave a vehicle overnight. The gates close at 10 p.m. But certainly a pretty place to pull out at the end of the Pea River, or to launch if you wanted to be from here on down the Choctawhatchee River somewhere. Now this park is located right on the edge of the city of Geneva, so there's plenty of stores and places to get drinks, ice, food, stuff like that, just within a mile or two of here. I'm not sure about lodging over here or campgrounds. I don't think there's a whole lot in the way of that around here. And I had one bar of cell service, LTE, when I got out of the car here. So I'm standing here on the bank of the Pea River, and it's kind of an interesting and unique place on the Pea River because I'm at the junction. If I walk over 10 feet and stand right behind where the camera's at, I'd be standing on the bank of the Choctawhatchee River. Now this is the end of the Pea River. From here you can pull out here and pull out right up the trail that we came down. It's probably 100 foot or 150 feet or so over to the parking lot. Or you can go on around the bend here, and about 200 yards upstream is the boat ramp. Just want to show y'all this oak tree here at the park real quick. This is a magnificent, majestic old man. I have no idea how long this tree has been here, but it's seen a little bit of history. And in the summertime, when the leaves fill out, I'm almost completely in the dark in here. Almost completely canopied. These great big limbs come all the way down and touch the ground on the outside. Give you an idea how big some of these limbs are. The top of this limb is as big as a sidewalk. You could walk straight up it. It's so big and heavy they had to put a support in on it to keep it from breaking itself off. Oh, because it was breaking itself off. Wow. I had to get back in the car to get out of the wind, so the wind wouldn't mess up my audio here. To tell you, if you've never been in a kayak race, they've got one coming up here on April the 30th, at the same time as the Festival of the River. Bama Outdoors did a video about the upcoming kayak race, and I'll link it at the end of this video instead of one of my videos being recommended on the end screen there. I'll link Travis's video for you, and you can watch it if you're interested in entering a kayak race. It's for a good cause. It'll be managed from here, and if you want details on it, you're interested in entering a kayak race, be sure to click on that link and go check out Bama Outdoors' video about it.